True story. 8 years ago, I ordered a custom bow from a reputable bow manufacturer all the way across the country. We talked a couple times, talked about woods and styles, and then we settled on what I was looking for, gave him my specs, and paid my down payment. 7 months later, the bow was ready. I paid in full. He shipped me the bow. I hated it the minute it came out of the box. It didn't look good. It didn't feel right. And it didn't shoot good. I ended up selling that bow 3 weeks later for $250 less than I paid for it. I took a bath on that, and my wife was not happy. Enter Blackwidow Bows. They have a test drive program. If you're even remotely interested in shooting a Blackwidow bow, give those guys at the shop a call. Talk to them. Tell them what you're looking for. They're going to give some really good guidance. They're going to have some really great advice. They're going to have a bow that's close to your specs on the demo rack, if not right on. You're going to run your card. You're going to pay for shipping both ways. You're going to pay for insurance both ways, and you're going to get to shoot the bow for a week. You might decide you don't want to shoot a Blackwidow bow, and that's cool. Send it back. But you might decide you want to order one. You want to make some tweaks to get it just what you want. I wish I had that option 8 years ago. If you're thinking about a Blackwidow bow, give those guys a call. If nothing else, they're fun to talk to. Everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Stick Bow Chronicles, brought to you by Blackwidow Bows. I'm Rob Patudo, and speaking of Blackwidow Bows, I got a couple. I want to say they're twins, but I'm just poking at them. They're not twins. I've got Toby and Dusty Essick from Blackwidow Bows. Yeah, so Dusty, he had a great first year with a stick bow. A Blackwidow, actually. So, I was like, hey, man, I want to talk about, how you ended up with a stick bow in your hand. Because, even though his brother is part owner of Blackwidow, Dusty was shooting a compound for a lot of years. So good conversation, that angle. But, if you listen to the podcast, I'm a clown. I just like to laugh, joke around, and those two guys are clowns, so I wanted to get them on, brothers hacking on each other and that stuff. So fun episode, just BSing. Before I let you go, though, let's see. This should be Sunday, Monday. I'd have to look at the date. I think it's the 20th. I think the voting ends the 20th. So the I Hunt Close Trad Kill 2020. I got the photos of the finalists up on the stickbowchronicles.com website. So go to www.thestickbowchronicles.com and vote on them. So you go to the voting page, vote one for finalists. They just happen to be all adults. It's not like an adult group and a youth group. We're going to do it different next year. This was a big hit, so really looking forward to doing something next year. But right now, you go and just put, click on, pick who you want, click on one of the photos that goes right to an email link, and pick one number, which is the adult finalists, and one letter, which is the youth. The voting's really tight. My phone was blowing up. So get on there, vote. Only vote once. I don't want to see somebody trying to pad the vote, because I'll pull that one. So don't do that. Good stuff. It's awesome. Well, I mentioned in this episode, I had to shut my phone off initially, because it just once I put it on Facebook and Instagram to vote, my phone just blew up with the email alert. So it's all good. Christmas, I mentioned it before. If you can, support your local mom and pop shops, whether it be in your town. Our traditional community I'm getting tired of using that word community, but traditional community is great. Mom and pop shops all over the country. Get online, order something for Christmas for me or Blake, or hit up one of these sponsors of the show because we appreciate their support. The Footed Shaft, Kifaru International, Selway Archery, and of course Blackwidow Bows. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys are all getting her done, staying after it. Looking forward to another hunt myself. So that's all I got. Enjoy the show. Roger out. I'm not sure whose side to take yet, so I'm gonna.
It'll be mine before it's over.
Ready to roll, Dusty? You've never done this before. You nervous?
No. No, I've listened to enough of them. I feel like I know what's going on.
You an auctioneer?
I am. Yep.
Really,
it's pretty dang annoying, I can tell you.
Well, I'm hoping I can get him to, talk about listening to the Stickbow Chronicles, So I got Toby and Dusty Essick. Are you guys twins?
Not even close. We may look alike, but I'm actually about 6 years older than him.
So do you look younger for your age? Does he look older?
Me younger, definitely. Yeah, I definitely look young for my age.
You guys, Toby, you sent me a video of throwing sticks. Now, I couldn't even tell who was throwing a stick or who wasn't throwing a stick. Who was getting hit.
I was the thrower. He was the catcher.
He didn't look like you're not a very good catcher.
Kansas the other day.
What an idiot. Yeah, I'm walking down the road just out in front of him. And he gets the idea to pick up a big stick, throw it, and hit me in the back of the legs with it.
Well, you took it in stride. I mean, literally. You didn't really break stride.
It was a good shot, wasn't it?
It was. So, Toby, Dusty, following Dusty a little bit this year, shooting a stick bow, his first year hunting with a stick bow. Pretty fun to watch. He got her done a couple times, but it really struck me that you guys could be, kind of like the next Wenzel brothers. Not that you kill stuff, but that you're kind of funny.
Don't have nothing to do with how well we hunt. It's all about our comedy. Huh?
Hey, if you listen to this podcast, I'm all about laughing. I don't care about the bow hunting part. I just want to laugh.
Speaking of laughing, I was on my way home from Indiana the other night and was listening to the podcast you did with Greenwood and Aaron.
Oh my gosh.
Man, that was good.
Yeah, Cody could definitely do stand up. He's so, kind of pan faced, like real, just dry delivery.
Yeah, I was driving, had my earbuds in, and I'm just cracking up. And I really, it takes a lot to kind of get me to really laugh at somebody. And I was cracking up. My wife's like, "What are you laughing at?" It was funny.
We got to be careful, though. We always tell Cody we're laughing with him and not at him.
Yeah, at him, not with him, not at him.
Yeah. Before we get rolling on some hunting stories, now, Toby, how's it going with your new limbs? You built a few sets of carbon limbs, and I'm pretty sure your phone got blown up there, or you guys' phones got blown up there for a few days. Has it subsided, and how those limbs working out?
Well, so far so good. We still haven't built a lot of them, but I haven't built very many really at all. But we did, I send Aaron and Denny and Randy a set, and they've really, really liked them. I actually talked to Denny last week, and he's really, really liking them. And I talked to Randy; he really thinks a lot of it, and Aaron does too. And Aaron's got the G10 riser. So I've got. We're actually painting a set next week. We're going to send it to Cody.
Oh, yeah.
Cody Greenwood. He's going to do some pretty intense testing on it, we hope, and kind of give us, a little more information on it and stuff. So hoping that's interesting. But we're pretty close to, I think we're sure enough going to offer these, and I just can't find any reason not to. They're turning out pretty good, really.
Now, what did what's Denny? He usually shoots a PSR, right?
It is a PSR, yep.
And so you got the carbon limbs on a PSR for him.
Uh-huh, yep.
And just briefly tell everybody what's the advantages of carbon limb?
Well, more than anything, I think the recovery time, they're very dead. There's not much vibration in them. As far as speed, I don't think there's a huge gain. There is, we think neighborhood of 4 feet per second, which is not a lot, but it is a gain. Some people just like the looks of them, and they do kind of have a cool, almost a snakeskin type look to them. But more than anything, they're very, very stable. And the recovery, I think, are the two biggest things. Man, you can't hardly twist a limb on one if you try. It's really hard to believe just how stable they are. But I think they're going to be a good addition. We haven't had anything new in a few years now, so I think this will spark some interest, and they're going to be good performing limbs. There's no doubt about it. So we'll see how it does, but I'm thinking they're going to be pretty good for us.
Yeah, so I was handed a couple sets of limbs a few years ago, and one was a wood set, and one was a carbon set because I was asking somebody, what's the difference? And like you say, you grab a set of wood limbs, and you can laterally torque them, twist them. You grab those carbon limbs, and it's just amazing. I mean, it just locks up. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
So I'm assuming that's going to help with any kind of hand torque, or maybe.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Guys that grip their bow and have a tendency to torque the limbs and stuff, it'll make a huge difference.
Yeah. And then the G10, how's that experiment coming?
Well, just done the one for Aaron. To be honest, it's not going to be a lot different. We've built a fair number of handles that are solid glass, and as far as physical weight and stuff like that, to be honest, there's not going to be a lot of difference in them. There's less glue lines. I guess that could be a positive. Anytime, I guess you can eliminate some glue lines and still get where you're wanting to go. Because, like I said, it's for mass weight. Aaron likes a heavy bow, the reason he asked for the G10. And I'm still in the middle of getting some of that in because that stuff is so heavy. They sell it in like 4x8 sheets. Well, they weigh almost 500 pounds. And so still in the kind of the process of figuring some of that out, but I think we're going to get there.
But so you'll have the limbs out well before any G10's offered then, I'm guessing.
Well, we can probably start taking orders. I mean, if we start taking orders right now, by the time we get to it and actually start building them, we'll have the G10 deal figured out. So I don't think it's going to cause any slowdowns or anything like that. We just haven't completely got it completely ironed out yet.
So I'm curious, would you say a 4x8 sheet, how thick is it?
2 inches.
Oh, buddy. Wow. Dang.
Yeah. And just like the piece that I built Aaron's bow out of, it was 18 inches by 18 inches, 2 inches thick. And it weighed, I believe, 48 pounds.
So when you get
heavy stuff, it really is.
When you get a shipment in, you ought to get the high school football team to come by and, hey, I'll buy you kids.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, I'll buy you guys all fried chicken. Come over and move some sheets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be something.
That's good stuff. Well, you got your brother sitting next to you there, and Dusty, this is your first year shooting trad. How long you been bow hunting? Talk a little bit about how and why you showed up on the scene with a stick bow, other than your twin brothers building them.
Well, as far as how long I've been bow hunting, I guess I started, I don't know, I think I bought my first bow when I was 11 or 12 years old and bought a Pearson compound and hunted, obviously for years with a compound. and have had some success with it. And I don't know. Toby had made me a bow for my birthday years ago, and I shot it a little bit, and even tried to hunt with it a little bit. But I don't know. It hung around in the garage more than it did anything, and I've just always shot my compound. And to be honest with you, I've never really been one that just really loves shooting the bow. As crazy as that sounds, I love to bow hunt, but just to go out and shoot all the time, I never really had a desire for it. So I always kind of figured the recurve or the trad bow probably wasn't for me if I'm not willing to put in the time. But I really don't know. I just we went on a mountain lion hunt last December, about a year ago to the date. A year to the day, and took my compound. And I don't know why. When I got home, I just something clicked with me, and I got to watching these YouTube videos of South Cox and didn't even realize I was watching Aaron Snyder a little bit at the time. And I don't know. I just told Toby, I said, you know what? Why don't you make me some arrows up, if you will? I'm going to start shooting that recurve again. And I just kind of took it from there and love it now. I mean, just absolutely love it.
You guys had a heck of a cat hunt. That's kind of like an anomaly. You guys both killed tank of monster cats.
Yeah, it was the guide. He was kind of blown away. He said, "You boys must be living right." I mean, we went out on a 9-day hunt. For the two of us combined, we had 9 days, and we tagged out on day 2. Toby killed a thumper on day 1 and turned right around on the second day, and I killed mine. And we had 7 days to kill. We ended up taking the wife snow skiing and shopping and coming home. So it was a great trip, though.
Did you say that was Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, everything's
Burns, Colorado.
Everything's better in Colorado.
Especially the elk hunting.
Oh,
don't come to Idaho, you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go to Colorado.
Boy, yeah, there was a big dust up this year on Idaho non-resident stuff. I think Aaron and I are going to do and another person's going to do a podcast on that because there was a lot of people upset.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So I got to imagine now the 6 years between you two and the text messaging and all the different messaging and phone calling we've done. I'm assuming that your folks, especially your mom's, pretty lucky that there's 6 years between you two because you guys kind of get a little bit rowdy, got a little rough on each other.
Yeah, we've done a lot of fighting over the years, I can tell you. Dad's always said he never thought I'd make it to be very old. Thought Toby'd kill me before it was over, but I've survived. But yeah, we still did a lot of fighting.
We hooked up a time or two our last trip in Colorado. Twice, I think. And it's always Dusty's fault too. I mean, he provokes me, and I can't help it. I have to get hold of him.
He's not defending himself for sure. There must be striking.
One time we were, I might have told you this. We went moose hunting. How long was that? 10 years?
2012 or so.
Yeah.
Alberta.
And it was a 2-on-1, and so me and Dusty were together, and it all seemed like about every day we'd get scuffling around. The moose, it was really hot. The moose hunting was really slow, so I don't know. One thing led to another there one day, and I usually hunt with a longbow, so I keep that upper tip pretty sharp because I reach out there and gouge him with it once in a while if he gets out of line. And one thing led to another. Next, bows hit the ground, and we hook up. And we were rolling around there on the ground fighting and trying to give out of breath. And looked up, and that guide, he was just sitting there shaking his head, and he had his phone out filming us so he'd show his buddies. They're not going to believe it. That's usually the way it goes, though. We go hunt together. There's usually some physical contact.
We don't lock up as much as we can go to the grounds. We don't have the air we used to. Last few times we lay there both of us about dead. So we just take cheap shots at each other now.
So when you lock up and go to the ground, you guys like take a minute and slowly kneel down with age.
Yeah, we try. Yeah.
We go down a whole lot quicker than we get up. The getting up's the slow part.
We've always tried to have our phone ready so we can film it.
Yes.
So
Good times.
So Dusty, your first year, or your first year with a stick bow. When did you start shooting this year? How did you learn to shoot? What's your technique there?
Well, so really back about the first of the year is when, like I said, after we got back from that hunt and got to just kind of got to playing around with it and started shooting. And I told Toby, I called him one day and I said, hey, I'm going all in on this trad deal. And I said, I've always kind of been the kind when I go to do something, I usually jump in with both feet. And I said, I want to get some coaching of some kind or whatever. And Toby made a phone call or two and actually got Rod Jenkins hooked up to come up to our house. And we recruited some guys and got a group together. And Rod come up and did a clinic for us there at the house. And man, it was a game changer. It was just one of the deals where I wanted to start out and learn from the very beginning, doing it right, as opposed to developing some bad habits and trying to wean myself off those. So anyway, when Rod come up and did that, and from there on, I've just done a lot of shooting and tried to really apply what Rod taught us and do a lot of blind bail at times, not as much as I should, but blind bail shooting. And I even got into the gap shooting, and that's the way I shoot, gap shooting and 3-under. And really it's pretty surprising on how accurate and how confident you can be if you're doing it right. But I have days where I'm not doing it right, I can assure you.
Oh yeah. And I think that what you just said right there is with the gap shooting, and you're surprised the accuracy you can attain. I kind of think that is a big part of what is winning over a lot of the new converts. Just like you're surprised at the accuracy because it's always been, pie plate at 30, but there's guys shooting softballs at 35 and 40 now.
Yeah, I kind of had the misperception, that I tried shooting and nothing against instinctive shooting at all. A lot of guys do it and are great at it, but I just never was real accurate with it. And of course, probably didn't give it the time that I needed to. But, I just never really realized how accurate you can be and how confident. And so it's really been good. And I used to kind of, when I hunted with it years ago, I've told people, and it's the truth, I kind of sat there in a tree with that recurve, scared to death. A 160-inch buck was going to walk up on me, and I was going to have to shoot at him with it. But it's just the opposite now. I'm confident when I go into the woods with it, and I feel good with it, and just from learning to shoot it the right way. And but I will say I haven't missed that 160-inch buck yet. And I don't know how I'm going to act when that day comes. I know it probably will, but I've been pretty fortunate so far.
Well, that's a pretty good whitetail you killed. What was that, Kansas?
Yeah. Killed him out there in Kansas on some walk-in ground, and same deal. I just didn't have a lot of time to think about it, but was able to make a good shot. One of the boys asked me here, said, "Did you hit him right?" And I said, "Yeah, I hit him perfect," which means I must have been aiming in the wrong spot.
And another one of them deals where I bailed him out, Rob. He called, I was coming to work, and he called. He said, "Boy, I think I really got a good one, And he said, "I can tell you right now, I have no idea how I'm going to get him out." He hiked in about a half a mile from the road, and it's one of those walk-in areas where you can't drive. And so once again, I made a phone call and got a guy that shoots our bow, lives over there close, and he ended up coming over and bringing a deer cart, packing it out for him. So I bailed out little brother again.
I didn't even take a knife with me. I wasn't planning on killing anything when I went. I just was going to hunt, and I wasn't planning on scoring. But no, it's kind of a weird deal. The night before, I just had some free time open up, and I told the wife, I said, "I'm going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, drive out there to Kansas and get my stand." And so I left the house at 3:30 and was in my tree stand by daylight and shot him at 10 minutes after 7. So it was kind of a quick run, but like I said, I wasn't planning on killing anything, so I didn't take a card or anything. I'll worry about that after I get him on the ground, I figured.
Well, Toby, he knew how he's going to get it out. He's got you on speed dial. He's like
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he called. That's the only reason he called, hoping I'd volunteer to drive out there or something to help him drag.
Yeah, better give a shout out Nick Reddy. He's shoots a Blackwidow, and Toby knew him, and he lived there close, and
well, when I called
Nick, and he came.
I called him early in the morning, and he's like, "Hello." I'm like, "Oh, man, I just got this guy out of bed." And I said, "Hey, man, did I wake you up?" He said, "No, I'm in a tree." So I explained to him what had happened, and no, he's good enough. He hunted there just a little bit longer and climbed down and went to where Dusty was at and helped him pull that deer out. So, yeah, it worked out really good.
Well, that's a pretty good deal, man. With the Black Widow following, I bet you got you got the capability of getting critters out all across the country and parts of the world.
Yeah, you get some good offers. You sure do, man. There's not time to do them all, so but we try to every year. We go to Colorado just about every year. We put in, for a draw, and our dad, he goes with us there. It's kind of a family deal. This year, me and Dusty and Miles and our dad goes every year. He doesn't hunt, but he just likes to hang around camp and stuff. So it's always been a family tradition, really. Hunting in our family, and it still is, and so it's a lot of. It's just a neat deal, In fact, next year, Dad, he's been putting in points in Colorado. He's got 20 points now. Was wanting to go to Unit 61, which is the unit that Randy went to this year. But it just keeps creeping up. Well, our dad's 75.
It'll be 76. It'll be 77 next season.
Yeah, and so it just keeps creeping up, Well, he's just never going to draw it. So I think we're going to try to put in for a different unit. And me and Dusty's got some mule deer points, so we're going to try to get Dad in. Dad's never been a bow hunter. So we're going to try to put him in and draw a muzzleloader tag. And me and Dusty are going to try to put in for the same unit and get an archery deer tag. So that's our plan for this year. Next year, next fall. So
yeah, that'd be a heck of a deal. Man, 76 years old. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
He goes every year. He hasn't missed but 1 or 2 years probably in the last 40 years or better. So he doesn't bow hunt, but he's always liked to gun hunt. But even when he goes with us, he just enjoys going and riding mules and hanging around camp. And so we're going to try to get him on a muzzleloader hunt next year. So.
Now, what did he do for work when you guys were growing up?
Well, grew up on a dairy farm and for years, and Dad's always sold real estate. So he's always been a realtor. So.
Gotcha. And then I was getting a kick out of Toby when you guys got back from Colorado. You were telling me about you went there with some mules and you left them.
Yeah, those were Dusty's. we ended up going. We went hunting this year back behind the guy that we went mountain lion hunting with last year. And so I called him back, and he said, "Yeah, there's a bunch of area here behind us." Well, we ended up hunting just behind his house, basically, down the road. And Dusty's got 2 really good broke mules, and so ended up that guy we cat hunted with, he really took a liking to him, and Dusty ended up selling them. So we come home with 2 less mules.
I like to heard that negotiation there in the crowd. Did Dusty start with the auctioneer?
It went on for about 3 days, really, back and forth, and they finally worked the deal out.
And then you can use them anytime you come out. Is that part of the deal?
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah, he said come by and get them when next time you come out. So it might be a good deal.
Let him feed them all winter, and then we'll just pick them up next fall and hunt with them.
Man, next time I'm buying something, I'm gonna get a hold of Dusty. I'll pay you a little money to negotiate for me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So, and then Dusty, you ended up killing a bear. So that was your first trad kill, right?
Yeah, it was. I took Murray Curve to Colorado this year, and of course had an elk tag and a bear tag, and man, the bears were thick this year. I mean, where we were at anyway, we just everywhere you went there. Well, I've seen 8 different bears throughout the course of the trip, and me and Miles were coming up a canyon there one day on kind of an old logging road, and there's this bear sign everywhere, and kind of come to a pinch point there. And I told Miles, I said, I'm going to bring a tree stand over here and put up in that tree right there. I'm going to try to ambush one of these bears. And we've hauled a tree stand out there every year for the last, 6-7 years, and never got it out of the truck, but I went back and got it and put it up, and on the second night was able to able to get a shot at that bear. So it was pretty exciting to get to kill it, and I was tickled to get to kill it kind of out, not off bait. I don't have anything against bait at all, but it was just neat to be able to just get in the line of travel and get a shot off,
So, and that was a really, really nice bear. I mean, that was, I don't know, they grow all the time. They grow that good down in Colorado, but that was a really nice bear.
I guess. I don't know anything. The first one I've ever seen.
It was a good bear.
So
it sure was. So
the bear comes in, you got your stick bow in your hand. First time you're drawing on a critter. Any apprehension? You're confident through the whole shot?
I really was. I seen the bear coming for a pretty good ways. He was coming up, coming up this old road, and so I had time to kind of get set and get everything ready, and it's like anything. Yeah, I was pretty wound up, but at the same time, I felt good about it, felt confident, and had a good shot. It's, an easy shot, 16 yards, I think it was, and broadside. Everything just worked out perfect. Had the wind in my favor, and so I didn't have to worry about anything. But yeah, it was cool though, just getting to put it, all the hard work from the spring and summer leading up to it. I was just wanting to kill something so bad with it, and to have it all work out. It was pretty exciting,
What kind of broadhead do you use, and how far did the bear go?
I'm shooting an iron wheel, 150 solid, and I shot the bear, and he turned, and I don't know, probably total, I'm 75 yards total. Went off a super steep bank and like to kill us trying to get it out, but was able to make a good shot, and it really didn't go very far. It was dead, I think, before I ever got down out of the tree, and it died there pretty quick. But yeah, it done the job, that iron wheel did.
Nice. Which model Widow you shooting, and are you going to continue to shoot Widow? Are you going to go to a Hoyt or something?
I'm going to shoot these Widows until I can save up money to buy me a good bow. But yeah, I'm saving my money. Got asking Santa Claus for maybe a good one. But no, I'm shooting a.
I can tell you right now, he's got his last one from me, Rob. I can right now.
That's a good one.
I'm shooting a PSA 60 inch, pulling 55 at 28, and yeah, it's like I said, he made me this bow back in 05, I guess, and just been hanging around. But yeah, that's what I'm shooting, and getting along pretty good with it. He made me a set of lighter limbs for it. I don't know whether they 40, 45 or 46 or 28. So. When I went to that clinic with Rod and all that, and was thinking about just making it a whitetail bow, shooting. But I don't know. I've gotten pretty comfortable with that bow, and I'm just using it for everything, for elk and deer and everything else. So it fits me pretty good.
I had Rod on the podcast, Aaron and myself and Rod, and I was pretty intimidated, for his level of coaching. I was intimidated to have him on there and talk to him, but man, what an engaging guy. The wealth of knowledge, like, holy smokes. And then he messaged me later. He was like, anytime, man, just send me a video and, I can critique your shooting. I would love to get him out here for a clinic.
It was a lot of fun. We had, like I said, me and Dusty and Miles and another boy is working here. And Bo, my youngest son, he's 15 now. So that was 5 of us. There was 12 guys, and I just some local guys, that shoot here. Everybody at the clinic was, lives here pretty close. So it worked out pretty good. And it was pretty interesting, some of the things that he teaches just really makes sense. And so it was definitely worth the money.
Well, one of the things that I picked up on when we had him on was relaxing your forearm. And I don't like messing with my shooting. I've just done it too long. I'm scared to mess with it. But I went out and started just relaxing my string forearm as opposed to a conscious release. And, man, that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, there's just a lot of little tips in there that made a lot of sense, really.
The hardest part of the whole deal was he challenged everybody to for 3 weeks to not shoot at a target. He said just basically do blind bell, where you just go through your sequence of steps and just, 3 to 5 feet away from the target and just shoot over and over and go through these steps one by one and not even shoot a target for 3 weeks. That's pretty tough to do. And because every day, you get feeling pretty good, and boy, you'd like to step back and fling a few. But it was really good, and I'd encourage anybody that has a chance, whether he's got one around you or line something up. I think he's willing to go places if you can get enough guys together, and it will benefit you, man. It was outstanding.
Yeah. It's funny, the blind bell shooting now, that's you closing your eyes, you're just shooting up close.
Just shooting up close.
Yeah.
For me, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it's funny because I go like, oh man, I got to work on my release, and I'll get like 2 arrows into blind bailing, and then within like 3 arrows, I'm back at 30 yards. I just love to watch the arrow launch. Like, this is boring.
Yeah, it's tough to do it for 3 weeks when you're used to shooting at a target.
Yeah, you find yourself like more interested in shooting now. You mentioned you didn't really like to shoot. You like more interested and want to go out there and fling arrows now.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy it. I really do. It's just, and it's the most frustrating thing. You guys have shot it. You know how it is. I sent Toby a text message one day. I said, my first group at 25 yards, boy, they were stacked in there pretty good, on a good softball or so. And then I sent him my next group. And of course, I had them and I'd placed them just being silly, but over the neck and the back leg and the back. But some days that's the way I feel. It's like, you shoot 5 really good arrows, and then that 6th one is a foot out, but it is fun. I do enjoy it. It's I've just really gotten into it a lot more, and it's just more challenging. And like I said, but I am confident with it, so it's a good time.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder how closely. I'm not a golfer, but you think about golf. Your swing has got to be precise. It's got to be the same every time. I think I don't, but it's such a mind game. And some days, I've golfed, and some days you're on, and some days you're not. I wonder, the two must really parallel quite a bit.
Yeah, I bet it makes sense that they would. Because you do have to do everything relatively the same to be good and accurate. You still have to, pull and reach and anchor and, concentrate, pick a spot. And if you anchor corner of your mouth one time and up on your cheek the next, it just everything makes a difference. It's got to be repetitive and stuff.
Yeah,
and I am saying it, but I don't have anything to show for it. This brother of mine, here's his first dang year, killed 2 good animals. I don't think I've fired a shot yet. So I don't know what the deal is. I want to send something. Just dying to send a picture and enter on your I Hunt Close trad kill contest. And I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to take a picture behind one of Dusty's deer or something. So send pictures. How's your contest going?
Well, we wrapped it up the end of December. The 1st of December. And it took me a little bit. My sister-in-law, she helps me out on the website. So we narrowed all the photos down on a Facebook Live thing. That was pretty fun. And we just did a random drawing. So we ended up with 5 youth. And that was pretty cool because I didn't really expect the youth photos, didn't really have a plan for that. But when I got a few of them in, to see a 10-year-old kid, Toby.
I've seen that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, a 10-year-old kid notched the tag, and here you are. You ain't got nothing to show for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we did, I had these photos and I put them up, and immediately Drew over at Selway said, "Hey man, I want to get one of those kids a quiver." And then the footed shaft, Terry's like, "Hey man, whatever those kids need, I really like getting these kids something." And then we had another guy jump in, and then another guy jump in. So all of those kids, I guess what I'm getting at, all of those kids are going to get broadheads or arrows or shirts or quivers. I haven't hashed out. I hesitate to say his name. So there was somebody else jumped in with some arrows. I'll have to make sure of that before I say anything. But so we got those kids, we got 5 of them, and then we got 8 adults, and it was just random drawings. But I'll tell you guys, seriously, the amount or the just the little stories that came in with these, like, the one dude, he hunted, I think he said 13 years with a stick bow, and he's a young guy. I mean, you talk about young people wanting, quick rewards. This guy's 29 years old. He's hunted 13 years with a stick bow and kills a deer. I mean, it's just...
Isn't that something?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. So I got tons of those. I got a bunch of first trad kills, and just some of those photos that come rolling through and the smiles. You're like, you could see how just genuinely excited that the one gal, Melody, she sent a photo and it was her first, shot a doe. And she's got a great story, but the smiles, I mean, you're like, that's genuine. That's not like, hey, look at my scent lock suit, look at my, XYZ arrows. I mean, it's just like, man, I killed this doe with this stick and string. This is awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm rambling on, but, I launched the voting yesterday, and my email, this particular email account, when I get an email, it dings, a banjo sound dings. And within 10 minutes, I had to shut the dang thing off because it sounded like dueling banjos off Deliverance. I mean, it was constant. So I was really nervous and it's been 24 hours. I just got the gumption up to open the email account. I had 335 emails to go through.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it's just been it's a win-win all the way around. And thanks, Black Widow. Thank you guys for jumping in because I wanted to. I was hoping that Black Widow, you guys, you're in the stick bow world. I was hoping that some of the manufacturers would see the value in the stick bow community. I mean, really, that was a big part of it. So that's the long version.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to see these, these youngsters getting involved in our future of it. It's, I don't know, it's just a neat thing. Of course, me and Dusty have hunted. We're pretty lucky, we've been hunting partners our whole life. We went on our first, I saw Dusty shoot his first elk. I was sitting there beside him. We went to Alaska and was actually filming, watched him shoot his moose. It was on the trip when he got his first bear. And I'm hoping, Miles and Bo are about the same age difference, and I just hope they get to do the same things, just keep it the family. Because, like I said, we go with our dad every year. In fact, we pulled out, we had put our names in to try to draw a tag on Kodiak Island for a goat hunt, mountain goat.
Oh yeah.
And we pulled our names out because we want to try to get this tag for Dad. Like I said, he's 76 now. We're just, how many years has he got left? So, especially in Colorado, it ain't like we're walking around in Iowa or something.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to get that done. And so it's just a neat thing. You see families hunting and sending in these pictures to you, these kids that their dads have, they've watched their dads shooting a traditional bow and now they want to. So it's kind of a neat deal.
Oh yeah. You mentioned that was last week's episode, I think. I don't know. I get them all confused, but yeah, that was kind of a cool story. The guy says, he's been shooting a stick bow, and that episode actually sounded more like a Black Widow infomercial.
Oh, yeah, I listened to the rest of that this morning, actually. Yeah. His dad and what, a 72-pound widow or something.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat. And basically it was the same deal. He kind of got both his boys into wanting to shoot traditional because they seen Dad doing it. So
I can't remember because during that episode, after we were done recording, the three of us shot the breeze on Zoom for like an hour and a half. Now, in that episode, did he talk about that? watching his dad shoot a bull with him, his brother, and his mom sitting down the hill, and they almost get run over.
Stand beside a wall, they about got freight trained by injured bulls.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah, you can't say enough about families, and like you have that opportunity. I told you, like my brother and I are pretty close, even though we live thousands of miles away. But he never was into hunting, and it would have been so much fun. I look back and all the cool things that I've seen and done to have your brother share that with you. I mean, I'm lucky. I have Jake.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention the mountain lion. We both got to witness that. It's just a neat deal. We just whether we. And even when we're hunting around the house, we're constantly shooting text, seeing anything, and this and that, or mouthing each other or something. Is your season still going? Oh no, you just killed a buck on the last day of your season over there, didn't you?
Oh, buddy, yeah. And I haven't talked about that. So, in this day and age of phones, if you tell somebody that, oh yeah, I've been reading this good book, I bring a book out on the tree stand, people will be like, oh, that's a good idea. But if you were to say, yeah, I brought a phone, I was looking at it, you'd be like, oh, you dang millennial, Well, dadgum, it's, about an hour and 20 minutes left of the season. And of all things, I'm looking at my phone playing Sudoku.
Sudoku.
Yeah. So a nice, really nice buck came through, and I was cursing myself out, but fortunately, I had his little brother come back through a little while later, and I got it done with just about an hour left of the season. So that's that's 10 weeks of bow hunting. And for deer, and I brought it to the last hour. Yeah, so I got my money's worth out of that tag. It's pretty fun.
That's the way to do it. We've got what about another month? I guess
January 15th.
January 15th. So we've got about another 30 days. And
now let's talk.
I've got to try to get out here and redeem myself. I can't let a newbie, school me like this, make me look bad, especially a brother. I've got to do something.
Man, it's kind of like getting hit in the back of the legs with a stick.
Yeah, that's that's the best lick I've got in all year.
I shouldn't tell it, but his wife actually called me the other day, and she's like, what's the deal? Toby hasn't killed anything. I said, I don't know, Chrissy. She said, you think I ought to get him a crossbow for Christmas? Or what do you think? So I don't know what he's been Googling it or something. She knows about it or something. Get him a crossbow so maybe he can kill something. But
like I said, all this smack talk, Rob, he's got his next bow he gets will be expensive if it comes from me.
Is he going to get one of those pink risers that I almost got?
No more of this freebie stuff from brother, I can tell you.
So, man, Dusty, you might have to sneak over and throw some packages of meat in the freezer. The family might be hungry.
Helping through the winter.
Yeah, the family might be a little hungry.
Well, I tell you how good of a brother I am. He killed that bear out there in Colorado, and me and Miles need to get back, so we left, 3 days earlier than you did. I brought his bear back and ground it up for him. Had it all ground and packaged before he got home.
Man, what a brother.
Yeah, and he still wants to smack talk me.
Oh, did you get done?
The real brother would have took it to the taxidermist.
I was going to ask you if you got done processing his deer yet.
No, I ain't doing it. No, I'm done.
Oh, shoot. No, I've got, I'm going to take off in a few days. I still have an elk tag. We're going to go down and it's a pretty tough hunt. But I got my buddy, he's got an elk tag and a deer tag, and I got an elk tag. We're going to go down and run around those really steep, cold mountains for a few days. Well, that's kind of like Dusty. This guy, my buddy, Jiminy Christmas, 20-something years we've been hunting. He's been shooting a compound the whole time, and he calls me in January, I think, of last year and says, and man, we're going at it all the time, ribbing all the time. And so he's really busted my chops for decades. over shooting a stick bow. And so he calls me out of the blue one day and he says, "Hey man, I want to shoot a stick bow this year. Can you hook me up?" I'm like, "You can't, you're not getting off that easy, bud." Like, there's going to be some thrashing, but yeah, first year of the stick bow, kind of the same thing. You know, he's never really shot a lot, but he gets his stick bow and he hunted this year and he didn't kill anything yet, but he's pretty fired up.
You know, I've got a good friend that makes me think a good friend of mine that I've been friends with for years and years, and he's always shot a compound. And of course, I'm telling him about going to stick bow all the way. And so when I was leaving for Colorado, he said, "You're not taking that stick bow, are you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, dang it." He said, "I was hoping to get some elk steaks from you when you got back." And boy, that that really lit a fire in me. I'm not kidding you. I wanted to kill and bring an elk home so bad, and shot at a cow and deflected off, hit some limbs and all that. Was close, but he kind of make fun of me. In fact, he sent me one day sitting in a tree stand out in Kansas. He sends me a text message about something about what does a rangefinder cost for you trad guys that'll range 20 yards? What do they normally cost, you know? And well, he's seen me now kill some of this stuff, and it's funny. I was just talking to him this morning, and he's like, "You won't believe it." He said, "I've got me a recurve bow," and he said, he'd gotten it from a guy or borrowed it, and he said, "I've been shooting," and he said, "Man, that is fun." He said, that looks pretty fun to me," and he said, "I've been enjoying shooting it." And so I don't know if he'll do anything with it or not, but it's kind of one of those deals if guys will give it a chance, and once they do it, and especially if they get a little success, I think they're hooked on it.
You know, a reoccurring theme through all of dozens. I probably get literally 12 to 20 messages through all the different social media and just emails and all that stuff. I probably get that a month, and one of the reoccurring themes that'll come through is somebody that's been successful, and they want to up the challenge, right? Not everybody is willing to sit in a tree, just like you say, worrying about a 160-inch deer come by, and they don't feel like they can shoot. They feel like they've lost some yardage. So not everybody, but man, that's like what I hear is like, hey, just want to up the challenge. So I mean, stick bows, compounds, the last 30 years, what's the difference now? Like, why are people now so willing to up the challenge when everything's gotten easier in our world? I guess, I don't know the answer. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm glad of it. Like, I think there's a pretty good surge in traditional archery right now, and I think, I don't know. It is a younger crowd, seeing a lot of younger guys and hearing a lot of younger guys calling, ordering bows. A lot of it, Aaron and his podcast, he reaches a lot of young guys, your podcast and stuff. It just kind of, people, I think, listening to this stuff is just kind of building a fire under them, and they're hearing all these guys and their fun stories and what they've done and what you can actually do, with a traditional bow, and they're just wanting some of it,
Yeah,
So I'm going to tell you, over the last 2 or 3 years, we get a lot of phone calls from younger guys, a lot younger crowd than it seems like we used to. That, or maybe I'm just getting older and they sound younger. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. I think in a nutshell, I think that guys like Aaron and South, they've made it cool for some reason, or some way. People look at it and they think it's cool. So
Oh yeah,
I think it's that simple.
Yeah, absolutely. These videos that South Cox, has made, spot and stalk on these mule deer, and getting a, my gosh, almost point blank sometimes. If that will make a guy want to do that, I don't know what would. So all those things combined, like I said, it's just really convincing people to want to do it, I think.
I tell you what's kind of funny, Rob, is Toby was telling me about, I don't know, a year or so ago. He said, "You need to go watch some of these videos of the South Cox put the stock on these mule deer," and so I'm sitting at home and watching it in the recliner, and it is crazy. I'm like, man, this is crazy, you know, a guy able to do that. And I was telling Toby about it one day, and I said, yeah, and there was this other guy, I said, that was on there. I said, he self-filmed his hunt. I said he was carrying a black widow, and I said, kind of a bigger guy. I said, Toby said, well, I don't know, you know who? And I said, yeah. What did he look like? And I said, well, he kind of had a shaved head and a goatee. And did he cuss like a sailor? And Toby's like Aaron Snyder. And I said, yeah, I think that is him. I'd never heard of Aaron Snyder, but just watching him on that, I don't even remember what it was, but he killed that mule deer. But, yeah, it is. It's pretty cool. And you just watch these guys, and you just see how, like, that Aaron, man, I mean, he's a killer, you know, and I mean, just how proficient they are with these trad bows. And it just, like Toby said, I think people are just realizing how cool it can be, and the nostalgia of it, and the challenge, and it's just I definitely think it's catching on better than what it has in the past.
You know, I've said lots of times, I've done this for a long time, and it's been a blast, and I've had some really cool opportunities. I've gone some cool places. My claim to fame is not being a great hunter, but I have hunted with some of the greatest hunters that I'll ever know. And I'm anxious. I'm going to go down in January. You know, there's a lot of possibilities that, you know, fall through because of, you know, COVID and the whole deal. But there's 4 or 5 of us that are supposed to go down top of Texas and hunt Aoudad, and Aaron's going to be there. I'm really anxious to, you know, spend a day or two hunting with Aaron, just to see, because the dude is unbelievable. But I've hunted with some really good hunters. Like, I'm interested to see, you know, what's he do that's so different.
Yeah, I know it. I mean, he's about as successful as you'll find. You know, he definitely made it look easier than what it actually is.
Well, we don't have spot and stock. I've never hunted spot and stock mule deer, and we don't have a lot of those opportunities in a lot of Idaho. So it's just never been on my plate. But I ended up spending an hour. You know, it's the closest I got was 40 yards from 4 mature mule deer, and by the time it was over, the adrenaline dump. I almost had a shot at one was 40 yards. I couldn't tell which end was his head, and his tail was like between 2 trees, so I couldn't take the shot. But by the time it was done, the adrenaline dump was crazy. And I was telling my buddy Jake, I'm like, dude, we've bugled in some big bulls, you know, and we've killed bulls at, you know, single digit yards and had them in that close and stuff. I had never experienced that kind of adrenaline dump like I did with those mule deer. I was a plate of soup for about an hour and a half.
Yeah, spot and stalk in our part of the country is trying to find a road that you can drive around and get closer to a deer. It doesn't happen around here.
We're getting on about an hour. Like, Toby, tell me the most irritating story you ever got with Dusty. Like, what do you want to just like sock him right in the mouth?
Oh, that's daily. I mean, we'd be here all day. I'll tell you. I'll say a quick story. Story about he just about got us 8 while we were in Alaska. We went on that moose hunt. What's that been? 3 years ago?
18.
Yeah. And was looking through the tags, we could kill a wolf. And I man, I'm just going to be sick. I would love to have a wolf, you know. I said, I'm just going to be sick if we're sitting there and a wolf trots by at 100 yards. We got nothing to sling at him. So we decided we took a rifle with us. We packed this dang rifle the whole time. And long to shorten that, we never saw a stinking wolf. But anyway, Dusty killed his bull on day 3. And so he was just packing the rifle just in case we saw a wolf. And I had my longbow. And we went down over the point. And we'd sit there and was looking, and all of a sudden, Dusty saw it before I did a bear. And I mean, this dude was way over there. He's a half a mile. And of course, we throw our glasses up, and there's a grizzly bear kind of working his way our way. And boy, we look at him, and he's just cool. First grizzly either one of us had ever seen. And all about a quarter of a mile, it dropped down into a drainage there, and we couldn't see it. And And we was like, well, that was cool. We both saw our first grizzly. And so then, I don't know, it was like 20, 30 minutes that went by. And me being the mature older brother, I was still on guard, and Dusty here was sitting down filling his mouth full of blueberries. And I just happened to look up, and we're on this point that kind of went down in that drainage. And I just happened to look, and this grizzly bear is about, 30, 40 yards from us, walking right at us, just come up over this point. Oh, my good grief. And so I hollered at Dusty. I said, Dusty, it's bear, Well, I was packing a 44 mag on my hip, and this bear comes up, and Dusty jumps up and grabs the rifle, and I pull this 44 out of the holster. And now this bear's, 25 yards and still walking right at us, but had no idea we were there. So we both, we watched these hunting videos and stuff. We knew what to do when these bears come, so we start hollering, waving our hands, hey, bear. Well, this bear, I thought it was going to run off, and it kind of stood on its hind legs. And also, it lets out just kind of woof, and just comes running as hard as it can come right at us.
Woof.
I'm like, holy cow. So I pull the hammer back on that 44 mag, and I let out a shot. And this bear, and I, assuming I miss it, and this bear stops dead in its tracks. Not much more than 10 yards from us, just staring at us. And stared at us just a couple seconds, and then turned and ran off. And we're standing there about 3 feet apart. I look at him, and he looked at me, and I said, my goodness, that was intense. And then he tells me, of course, he had the rifle, Well, the whole time this thing's charging after we holler at it, he said he's about to tear the trigger off of this 300 mag. Had it on safety.
Well, I figured you had us covered with 44 mag.
You know what?
Yeah, I had it on safety, and bear's fixing to kill us. And he's got the rifle on safety, and never gets shot off.
Doc Holliday here couldn't hit a grizzly at 10 yards. So.
Yeah, but you know what those shells cost?
But
Toby?
it was quite the experience. And then he was so into the deal, even the bear turned and run, he's still squeezing on the trigger trying to shoot it. But I'd give anything to have a camera. You talked about intense there for a minute, but
you're getting your money's worth
that
in
bear
Alaska.
has no idea how lucky he is to be alive. I shot at him 10 yards of the 44 and missed it, and he had the rifle on safety trying to squeeze the trigger. So,
well, it sounds like it worked out because that's a hell of a lot of paperwork. You got to kill a grizzly.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But
yeah,
I wasn't thinking about that when he was running at us there about 10 yards.
Yeah, and the funny part was the guy who flew us in there, he tried every way in the world to talk us into leaving that 44 mag at the hangar. He's like, you don't need it. You got that rifle. And I was like, yeah, well, we'll carry it just in case. And when he come to pick us up, he's like, man, we was telling him about it. He's like, man, I'm sorry. He said, I about got you killed, didn't I? And I said, well, I think I would have got a shot off eventually, but once I figured out the gun was on safety. But it was pretty intense.
As he's chewing on Toby's leg, you could have excitedly exclaimed, "Hey, I got it! The safety was on. Hang on!"
I didn't have to outrun the bear, just outrun Toby. So.
Well, I'll give you a chance, Dusty. I gave Toby a chance. What's your best Toby, big brother, irritating story?
Oh man, I don't know. You put me on the spot here. I'm trying to think. Like I said, it's we're just constantly jacking with. I guess the one that comes to mind that he back when I was shooting the compound, I'd found this bow that I wanted, and I'd told the wife and dropped every hint I could about getting me this new bow, for Christmas. And at Christmas time, my wife comes in there and hands me this bow, and the whole family's there. And I kind of had an idea then what it was, and I pulled this bow out, and it's about a 1975 model Jennings bow. And I pull it out, and she's like, well, honey, is that...
His wife didn't know the difference.
No,
either.
she didn't know the difference in any of it. And I pull this thing out, and I'm trying to act all excited and looking at it. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And she's like, is that the bow you wanted? And I'm like, no, not really. And Meathead here had slipped around and bought it. It was brand new, but it was about 30 years old. And he'd got some Jenny's bow off some dude that used to have a bow shop and brought it over. And my wife was ticked because she thought they ended up having the real one too to back it up. But
so yeah, he did have a pretty weird look on his face. She's all excited. That's the one you wanted, wasn't it? He said, well, it's a bow. Not exactly.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, guys, I appreciate it. I was looking forward to getting you guys together. I won't tell everybody about the text messaging, but I was cracking up. You guys would be a hoot to have in camp for sure.
Well, there wouldn't be many dull moments. I don't know about a hoot, but it'd be entertaining anyway.
Well, that's my idea of the hoot.
Yeah.
Toby, be looking forward to seeing those carbon limbs come out. I sure haven't shot out my wood limbs, so I kind of not really sure I feel right getting something different. But
Well, like I said, I think it'll happen pretty quick. So, I'm pretty excited about it, actually.
I told him I was willing, if he'd want to make a set, I'd kind of test them out for him. He said, yeah, you and about 500 other guys would. So he didn't act like he will.
That's a
yeah, I've had plenty of offers, I can tell you.
I've actually kind of felt bad. I was messaging Aaron that day because Denny shot a picture, didn't say nothing, and then I think Randy put a picture up the next day, didn't say anything, and then Aaron's like, "Yeah, these new limbs." I'm like, oh my gosh, Toby's phone just blew up.
Yeah, Miles, I think did that come out on a weekend? Maybe it's.
Pretty. I think he had to respond, or you had to respond on a weekend.
So I hadn't heard it yet, but Miles called me, and I can't remember where I was at. And Miles called me. He said, "Oh my God!" He said, "My phone is blowing up," and he said the words out.
Oh, that's good stuff. Well,
but that's good. That's good.
Yeah, excited. You guys come out with something new. Excited to see it. You guys are killing it. The traditional community's growing. It's a blast. It's pretty fun to watch.
You bet. Well, we appreciate it too. Appreciate you mentioned it and stuff. And
yep.
And like I said, hopefully shortly it'll be ready.
Right on. Well, good luck with the rest of your seasons. And Dusty, last year I ribbed Toby quite a bit because every time I got a hold of him, he wasn't in the shop. He was hunting. There sounds like there might be a new position open for a sponsored Blackwidow, shooter. So you're probably positioned pretty well with your repertoire this year.
Yeah, don't swell his head. I've already heard that junk too. Don't swell his head any worse than it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out some kind of a deal with him,
I would probably deal with Roger, not Toby.
Oh, yeah, he'd have better luck doing it, I can tell you.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Hey, you guys.
Yeah, he's hard to deal with, Rob. He don't.
He sounds.
He don't see the big vision,
You're
him just Huh?
So you're the visionary. You could see where this is going.
Yeah. I mean, he just don't see it though. He just that's what I told you before. I said get a hold of him. I said, you think he's Toby the bowyer? I said, I'll tell you what, Toby. I'll tell you all about Toby and how he really is. Give an inside scoop on him.
And when I asked Toby about it, I said, because I work with Toby and I love having those guys as sponsors. So I didn't want to piss him off, but I said something. He's like, "Oh, you mean my dumb brother?" So I wasn't sure if your name was Dusty or Dumb because that's all he says, like my dumb brother all the time.
It's funny. People around here, I guess, because everybody thinks we look alike. They're like, "Hey, yeah, you still building bows?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not." And then I'll ask Toby, "You still auctioneering?" And he's like, "Yeah, no." So nobody can tell us apart anyway. It's kind of sad. But.
Well, next time somebody says you're still building bows, Dusty, you ought to tell them, "Yeah, matter of fact, call the shop. You guys, 25% off, or maybe 40%
We're on a big sale right now, big promotional, 30% off today only."
Yeah,
Don't give him any ideas.
Get your orders in for those carbon limbs. We're having a sale on them.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Well, you guys, it's fun, man. Good luck with the rest of your season.
All right, man. We appreciate it, Rob.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us on. I've enjoyed it. Always enjoyed your podcast, and just keep them coming. We enjoy them.
All right. Well, it's fun watching you get some success there, man.
Well, thank you.
All right.
I'm fortunate.
You guys have
All right. Thank you, Rob.
You bet. Have a great day.
All right.
You too. We'll see you.